Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I am delighted to be able to greet the representatives of the BRICS countries, the business community, and experts who have come together for this meeting. I'd just like to point out that the regular meetings of this kind, which represent a kind of systemic work, bringing together leading businesses of the major countries of the five BRICS countries, play a very important role, particularly with regard to internal investment, communications, and the extension of dialogue between us. This will allow us to accelerate the social growth of our states and sustainable development. It is very important that the center of attention in the forum is the post-colonial development of BRICS countries' economies, the organization of industries, and the construction of effective communications and a just transition of technologies. These complex tasks are taking part, of course, against a background of extreme volatility on financial markets, and this pressure is prompted without doubt by the irresponsible action of states to emit too much energy. And this has a serious negative influence on the world economic situation, and particularly with regard to the legitimacy of sanctions practice. The trampling of all rules of free trade and economic life, which we thought to be immovable before, is not acceptable. We see the strengthening of inequality, unemployment, and the exacerbation of serious problems, which has an effect on productivity and particularly the cereals industry or agriculture. And this has been particularly vulnerable. This has meant that some countries are particularly vulnerable to it. BRICS is based on cooperation and making sure that sustainable development and economic growth is at the center of our attention, and we can see palpable results now. The investment projects are particularly important. And the main thing is that we cooperate on the basis of parity, mutual support, and the respect of each other's interests. This is the essence of the future economic association which we are in. And of course, this is based on our global majority. Over the last decade, we have seen huge investment by a factor of 6 in BRICS countries, and their investments in the global economy have doubled, and the overall export has represents something like 60% of world trade. As far as Russia is concerned, our trade turnover with BRICS countries has increased by 40%, more than 40%. And this represents billions of dollars. In the course of this year, compared with the same period last year, it has actually increased by 35%. I'd just like to point out also that the share of the countries concerned, in which billions of people live, has actually increased by 25%. And in terms of PPP, it is in a very high position. It has gone up from 30% to more than 40%. This is an irreversible development in our area, and measures have been put in place to make sure that more trade transactions are made in local currencies. And as a result of that, the share of dollars has actually, or dollar transactions has reduced very considerably, something like 80% between BRICS countries. We will be discussing all of that in greater depth, particularly the introduction of local currency transactions in all spheres of trade. Without any doubt, we are reckoning a lot on the new development BRICS Bank, which is a real alternative to the current existing financial establishment. The main point of the BRICS countries, as we see now, is the strengthening of cooperation. And particular importance here has been the intermodal cooperative sovereign communications corridors. Russia is particularly interested in making sure that our investment flows go to reliable countries, including all the BRICS countries. We are particularly interested in the development of a north-south massive communications network, and we hope that this will be a very important north-south motorway, as it were, or locomotive for trade. As far as the northern tract is concerned, Russia is constructing an enormous infrastructure process, which is based on decades ahead, and particularly with regard to rail transport. And this has absolutely no analogy anywhere, and that also goes for the energy sector. And this means that we will be connecting up the Baltic area with the Persian Gulf. And we see a big increase in the trade between Eurasian and African countries. And this corridor will develop, particularly with regard to new production. Russia is in favor of strengthening cooperation with countries interested in production resources and energy resources. Agriculture, energy, fertilizers also for the global south, and this will lead to real growth in food and energy. All these questions will or have been discussed very recently at the Russian-Africa Summit,